The shifting realm, cosmology of shift, felt sense, ultimate reality in the synthome machine. We created the heaviest thought. Now let's create the being to whom it becomes light. The shift is more ultimate than the stage. A felt sense is knowing that we don't know. Ordinary reality is only derivative. Ordinary reality is only derivative. Every shift is a hole through which ultimate reality leaks. Every authentic shift begins with a rupture of cognitive gravity, a moment when the interior cosmos loses its inherited coordinate system and the subject suspended between collapse and awakening feels the first tremor of ultimate reality pressing through the fissure where a stage once stood. This shift is neither progress nor transcendence, but a torque in the synthome machine, a sudden realignment of the subject's topology, where what was previously sealed becomes permeable and what was rigid becomes unstable enough to mutate. The stage can be ultimate because every stage is a wall waiting to crack, a provisional architecture erected over a deeper pressure. The shift is the quake that reveals the fault line beneath the psyche's historical settlements. The shift is not self-generated, but arrives like a Promethean lightning flash, striking the moment when the subject has made sufficient space, home, for the spark to land without annihilation. A true shift is the place where the analysand, felt sense, swells beyond the boundaries of language, making itself known as an inarticulable density, a preconceptual weight, a body murmur of the real, asking to be born. Home is not comfort, but a suspended attentiveness, a clearing carved in Augustine's memory sphere where no single demand dominates, and where the psyche momentarily stops performing its usual tricks of avoidance, compression, or rushed self-definition. Finding home is a ritual of de-accumulation, peeling off the crust of daily identifications until the bare sensing body stands in its full openness, capable of receiving impressions too subtle for the ego's clumsy hands. In home, the manifold of lived concerns may orbit like unclaimed satellites, but none capture the gravitational center. Here the subject glimpses himself as a field rather than a position, a transitional reality rather than a fixed coordinate on a developmental map. The felt sense is the body's whisper from beneath the symbolic grid, a murmur from the real that emerges only when the psyche is quiet enough to hear the vibration of what has not yet taken form. The shift happens only when home touches a situation without being swallowed by it. Two topological surfaces meeting, the openness of ultimate reality pressed against the thickness of lived entanglement, each transforming the other. Between ordinary reality and ultimate reality lies the transitional reality, where the subject senses with no organ, perceives without representation, and enters the zone where being is felt as a contour rather than observed as a thing. Transitional reality is transparent, merging, multidirectional, a moving field where objects lose their solidity and become currents, edges, atmospheres, throbs, antechambers of the shift waiting to be stepped into. Direct sensing is the unifying organ Aristotle suspected but could not name. a modality that perceives the relational field, not its discrete parts, the way a spider feels the web rather than sees the strands. In transitional reality, the body becomes an antenna for the unspeakable. It knows before thought, it senses before speech, and it shakes slightly when ultimate reality gathers behind the membrane. The small shift is the acknowledgement of what was usually exiled to the margins of consciousness, a nod to the impossible, a bell to unbearable, a moment of coexistence with the ungrasped that says, I will not run this time. Ultimate reality is not a destination but a pressure, a constant quiet insistence that every identity is provisional, every stage rupturable, every perspective merely one region in a vast field that cares nothing for stability. The shift is the aperture through which ultimate reality flickers, a reminder that ordinary perception is a habit, not a necessity, and that consciousness is designed for openness but trained for confinement. Ultimate reality is not mystical but structural. It is the capacity for transformation inherent in the fabric of experience. The source that births each new stage, it remains untouched by all stages. If ordinary reality feels solid, it is because our perceptual habits congeal it into solidity. Ultimate reality is what we sense when those habits loosen and the world becomes fluid again. Ultimate reality is ecstatic not because it overwhelms, but because it orders the subject's relation to time, revealing that continuity is merely a read-out phenomenon, a convenience, not a necessity. Authentic development is not the accumulation of stages, but the increasing frequency of shifts, the growing capacity to break one's own perceptual frame without catastrophe. The true direction of development is not upward, but inward, outward. The ability to let restrictive self-conceptions fall away and to let the newly opened reality inform the birth of the next orientation. Development is our private in and out dance with ultimate reality, periods of contraction alternating with moments of opening, each shift a new choreography written by the source itself. Stages are the sediment of past shifts. What matters is not the staircase, but the quakes that built it. The self that develops is not an entity, but a pattern of openness, an oscillation in the memory sphere, a rhythm, a yielding, a rebuilding, a pulse that deepens with every shift it survives.